Travis Kelce is speaking so openly about retirement?
Well, they're just Taylor and him are just friends, so let's not, they haven't announced that they're together.
Anyway, not hate him.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all about the conversation of retirement. You got to think, though, Skip, when you've accomplished so much so early in your career, in 12 years he's been playing in the National Football League, but so much success came early. When you won 7 straight divisional titles, 5 AFC championship games at home, by the way, 3 Super Bowl appearances, 2 wins at the Super Bowl, and you've had 10 surgeries. Look, think about it. You've been cut on 10 different times on parts of your body. In a minute.
Had you heard that? I'd never heard he had 10 surgeries.
I've known he had several, but I didn't know about 10.
Because he's only missed 4 games since his rookie year, but go ahead.
Yeah, but it could be off-season surgeries. You can play throughout the season. So when you got that, you look at it and you say, okay, do I want to do this again next year? I'm loving my off-seasons. I'm looking at all these sort of things. You got 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Yep.
You've already retired. You just hadn't announced it yet. And when you start hearing guys talk about these things, then reality starts to set in. Maybe it's not this year. Maybe he comes back next year, and then he decides that he doesn't want to do it again. I remember when I retired, though, Skip, I went into my 10th season, and I said, I think I'm going to do 1 more, but I really want to play football. I want to get into TV. I want to enjoy my life. I've accomplished. I've been to Pro Bowls. I won a Super Bowl. I did all of the things early in my career, made money. So it wasn't, what am I holding on to? I've accomplished so much. He's already going down as one of the top tight ends to ever do it. He can't eclipse that. Like, what do you do? Okay, at some point, you want to live your life. So I wouldn't be shocked if in 2024 he comes back at the end, 1 more ride. They get bounced out the playoffs this year. He said, I'm going to do it 1 more time. And then he eventually walks away. And if the stories are true that you report, because I don't report on
I didn't report them. I'm
Look,
just
Skip,
reading them.
I don't report on the gossip. But no, in all honesty, though, if those stories are such that he is enamored and he likes the situation,
Wall Street Journal about it. Yeah.
Now all of a sudden you have a significant other in your life that may be saying, I don't like seeing you walk like this. I don't like seeing these sort of things. And now all of a sudden things change for you. So I'm not surprised about it at all.
Well, I mean, I'm not surprised either. And Key, I think it's real. I don't think he's flying to Argentina on the bye week just for to be friend zoned. But that's not here nor there.
Richard. I just gotta make a joke though.
but I agree with you, and I agree that he's accomplished everything. I'm sure he's checked off everything on his list. He's won Super Bowls. He's been considered the best tight end in football for a very long time at this point. He's considered one of the all-time great tight ends to ever play. He's got almost 11,000 receiving yards. He's not going to catch Tony Gonzalez as the most receiving yards by a tight end. Tony Gonzalez has 15,000. He has 11,000. So he's starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, starting to question when he gets out of bed, is it worth it? You're starting to ache and pain, going through these rehabs and these physical therapies. Is it worth it? Like, is my quality of life starting to become diminished? Do I have other things that I want to do, that I want to be walking? Do I want to travel more? Do I want to see more? He's into the fashion world. He's at the Paris Fashion Show every year. So does he want to pursue other things in his life? Perhaps. And when you start to think about that, usually your play is affected by it, because you can say, hey, man, I can go do something else at this point. Yes, he's still passionate. Yes, he still wants to win a Super Bowl. He's going to do everything he can to help Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs win a Super Bowl. But it sounds like he's being honest and as candid as he can be, that there's a light at the end of the tunnel and he can see it and he's walking towards it.
I was just shocked that he opened up in this interview at this point in the season, because they're still really good. They're still co-favorites to get to the Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl this year. And I thought it sent a bit of a wrong message to his teammates that I'm thinking about hanging him up. And I have a new force in my life, and I'm just quoting him in this story because I don't know what's going on with him and Taylor Swift, but it sounds like she's a really big deal to him, and he is in awe of her, and no problem with that. But all of a sudden at midseason, when you have a chance to be very good, you're saying, you know what? I just can't take this anymore. All the aches and pains. I've never heard any of that from, and again, I've covered a lot of great players, and usually they, even at age 34, they're not going to just spill about this in the middle of the football season because it's the wrong place, wrong time for your locker room. It's like, well, we're out here giving up our bodies and you don't feel like it anymore. And what got me about this article, it came out this week ahead of this game, obviously, but he looked like he was semi-retired last night. He did not look like he was moving well. And I've seen him earlier this year in various games look pretty much like Travis Kelce, because I looked up a couple of these numbers. He had games on October 12th and October 22nd. These were home games against Denver. He caught 9 out of 9 passes for 124. He looked like that guy. And then against the Chargers the next week is October 22nd. He caught 12 of 13 targets for 179 yards, had a touchdown in both games. And we've seen when Taylor does come to the game, he just seems to play with more life and he's more inspired than usual. He did not look inspired last night. He looked like he was running in mud to me. And again, did they triple? Sure, everybody does that. People have been trying to take him away from Mahomes for several years. But you have the quarterback of your dreams, and he's obviously, Patrick's just really entering his prime. And you would think like you would just keep those thoughts to yourself to get through this year and maximize whatever your legacy is going to be. And all of a sudden, you now have the girl of your dreams. And it seems like you got, to Keyshawn's point, 1 foot in and 1 foot out. That's a dangerous game to play.
No, it is. But look, here's what I would say about teammates. Teammates are around you a lot, so they know how you're feeling. Now, I don't know exactly when the article was written. I mean, it was this week, but did he get interviewed in training camp and they canned it up until then?
I think it was last week.
So he got interviewed last week.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't have a problem with him, Skip, at all, saying the way he feels about the situation in his body and things of that nature, because in the end, we already know that somebody's hurting or they feeling a certain, because we see it. We see it every single day when they're in the hot tub or the cold tub or they're getting stim or ultrasound. We see it. We see them constantly walking around through walkthroughs and not participating when we in the media don't have an opportunity to see because we're not there.
But his teammates are also in the hot tub and they're also limping.
I understand, but he's also played 12 years. So there's a certain level of respect that comes with being Travis Kelce. And so I think players will respect that and don't have any issue with it at all. Whatsoever.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he's played over a decade. He's played 12 seasons in the National Football League. He has the respect of his teammates, his peers, his predecessors. And so he can say what he wants, and his teammates won't take it anyway. They know how he prepares. They see him every day in practice, his work ethic. They see the player that he's been not only in the regular season, but in the playoffs. So I don't think it's a big deal. I think the older players get, the more candid and honest they get about their future and about how they're feeling. I think that's true in society. The older people get, that's why you see people in their 60s and 70s. They like, hey, they're going to tell you the whole truth and nothing but the truth. And so I think he's saying that about his career, that at some point he's going to be willing to move on, and that point may be coming up sooner than later.
And when you think about it, Skip, you mentioned, as I mentioned, slowing down. You can see where it's not the same pop that it once was.
Nope.
He did get injured a little bit last night with his ankle getting caught underneath the defender. But here's what I would say, as Richard said, as you get a little bit older and you start to see the light a little bit, some of that also has to do with the financial situation, where all of a sudden I am 30-plus years old, I am in my 13th season, and I am slowing down. They're not going to pay me as the highest-paid tight end in the game anymore. So it's like, is it worth it? Yeah. Do I want to still do this for this amount of money? Probably not.
Is this team as hungry to win a Super Bowl as it was a year ago? I think not. And it would start with him as a leader of the team.
I think they still have, Patrick Mahomes still has that ambitions in Andy Reid to winning the Super Bowl. It just looks different. It just looks different on offense.
All right, up next.
That defense for sure is hungry.
We got to talk about the most controversial play in football now, college and pro football, the hip drop tackle. Is it time to ban it? Richard says no. I say yes. Here we go. Thanks for watching, Undisputed fans. Do you want more highlights from the show? Make sure to click that subscribe button for all the exclusive content from Undisputed.